Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, very much. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission is responsible for ensuring a safe, effective, and efficient decommissioning process for nuclear power plants whose life expectancy has now been completed. And that includes the Pilgrim Nuclear Power Station in Plymouth, Massachusetts. However, with its recent approval of the proposed decommissioning rule, I fear the NRC now stands for not recognizing concerns. The NRC has decided that the best way to shield itself from criticism around the decommissioning process is to take itself out of the process. In the latest version of the proposed decommissioning rule, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission would have no ability to approve, no ability to change, no ability to deny plants' decommissioning proposals. Known as post-shutdown decommissioning activity reports, its only job would be to acknowledge receipt of the report. Our independent nuclear safety regulator would serve as a glorified filing cabinet, ceding the job of regulator to the nuclear industry itself is not a win for safety, for communities, or for the energy sector. Chairman Hansen, if the Nuclear Regulatory Commission doesn't need to formally approve nuclear plants' decommissioning plans, will anyone, the NRC or stakeholders, be able to meaningfully assess or address any issues in the accuracy, timeline, cost estimates, environmental impacts, or overall legitimacy of the plant's decommissioning proposals?
Senator, thank you. Our decommissioning processes are oriented around kind of one primary goal, and that is the ultimately greenfield release of the site. And the post-shutdown decommissioning activities report that you mentioned is supposed to outline the activities that our licensees are going to undertake to reach that goal over time. We establish in regulation what is required in that in that report, and if that report comes to us and is lacking in any way, we can direct our licensees to address those deficiencies and prohibit undertaking any decommissioning activities until, before those deficiencies are addressed. We also publish that report for review by the communities. We hold 2 public meetings and solicit public comments so that not only can we rely on our own review with regard to whether or not that report meets our regulations, but we can solicit input from the community about whether or not they think it meets our regulations.
So you're saying that you can and are authorized to require NRC approval of decommissioning plans? You're saying that's in your jurisdiction and you will have to approve the decommissioning plan? Is that what you're saying you're going to do?
It is not a formal approval, as you know. It is a review for consistency with our regulations.
Well, then, from my perspective, check the box exercises aren't enough. This needs to be a process that takes into account the accuracy of those plans, not just the completion of those plans, and that the Nuclear Regulatory Commission has to sign off on it as part of the process. Otherwise, we wind up, closing the barn door after the horse is out, gone, and died of old age. We don't have the NRC playing a meaningful role in this process. Do you believe that anything in this proposed rule does anything to strengthen stakeholder involvement in the decommissioning process?
Senator, one of the areas that we added to this rule was we're making licensees conduct an analysis to ensure that their activities are going to be bounded by previous environmental assessments. If they are proposing any activities that are not bounded, that they have to, the NRC is going to provide a meaningful opportunity for public participation to review those activities and and their relationship to these prior environmental analyses.
Is there a requirement to consider and respond to public comments? Is there a requirement to have public hearings on this decommissioning process?
We do have public meetings on the post-shutdown decommissioning activities report, and we solicit public comments on that report.
This would be after the utility, the industry had completed this process, so that there would be public input as to the adequacy of the work which was completed?
Well, the activities report happens at the beginning of the process. They're required to submit that to us 2 years prior to shutdown. The license termination plan would be, there is an environmental assessment conducted at that, and that's within 2 years of completion of all of the activities. And then the NRC oversees the activities in the interim.
Yeah, well, the problem is the comments that don't have to be responded to are considered not meaningful if they're not going to be actually considered. It's like shouting into the wind if you're a community, that's concerned about what is taking place with this nuclear power plant and its decommissioning process. So I'm very concerned about this process as it is unfolding, and I would just absolutely, urge you, to ensure that there is full NRC and public participation, because the industry historically, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, has been known to cut corners, and ultimately we cannot allow the public safety to be put in jeopardy at all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mm-hmm.